Hello everyone, and welcome to my classic Season of Discovery Warrior Leveling Guide. In this guide, I'll be talking about many different tips and tricks you can use as this class, the different talent trees I like to choose when I'm leveling up, and of course different dungeons and things you can do to collect amazing gear on your way to level 25 so you can get into raiding a lot quicker. When I'm leveling up a warrior, then I either choose to level as fairy or arms. No matter what you choose, then remember it's only 25 levels. It won't be a huge deal whatever you level as. But when I level up, then if I choose to level as a fairy warrior, I will do it as a two-hand fairy warrior. With two one-hand weapons, there's a way too high chance that you will miss, so in the end it's gonna be way better just to use a two-hand. By the time you reach level 20, then you can also learn cleave at your trainer, so it's quite good to actually spend points into cleave, also in case you would like to do dungeons as you're leveling, but mainly because it allows you to easily kill two targets at the same time. And I feel like it's way better compared to Piercing Howl, Blood Craze or Improved Battle Shout. However, once you have maxed out your cleave, then you should probably spend points into Battle Shout to increase your overall damage. And at this point, you are now also level 24, and when you reach level 25, you will most likely respec anyway, so the last talent point won't really matter much. Like I mentioned, then you can also level up as an arms warrior, and whenever I do this, then I always spend 3 points into Improved Rend. This is to increase the damage that I deal. At this point, some people like to spend 2 points into Improved Heroic Strike to reduce the rage cost by 2, but I would rather like to spend 2 points into Parry, because whenever you parry an attack, then your next auto swing will also be done a bit quicker. Next up, you can then spend points into Improved Charge. You can also choose to retain some rage whenever you change stances, or spend points into reducing the cost of your thunderclap. What you can do next is to either improve your parry chance or charge. What I would definitely choose to do has to be to improve my charge, as I now generate a lot more rage, and when you combine this together with a low cooldown that you can pretty much always use whenever you fight a new enemy, then I feel like this is the best choice. Next up, I would max out my parry and unlock the next row. In the next row, you should prioritize maxing out your overpower, as this allows you to have a 50% chance to crit with this ability. As a low level warrior, you don't have a high chance to crit, and therefore you don't start spending points into deep wounds. But when you improve your overpower that now has a 50% chance to crit, then deep wounds will also be important. So make sure to max out deep wounds and get to level 24. And at level 25, you could then spend the last point into Impale, or decide to respec into something else. Next up is some different tips and tricks, and the first thing I would like to talk about is hamstring kiting. When you're fighting an enemy in melee, then the attack speed of that enemy might be a lot quicker compared to your slow two-hand weapon. So what you should be doing instead is to apply a hamstring and a rend and run away. And whenever your next auto attack is ready, then you will also be running into melee range. By doing this, you will prevent a lot of damage taken, because if you're standing in melee range all the time, then you will take a lot of additional damage. So just kite around, apply your hamstring, your rend, and do your auto attacks, and then kite again. After you end the fight, then you might also be low on health, but have a ton of extra rage. What you can do now is to activate your blood rage to keep yourself in combat and even generate even more rage. When you're in combat, then you won't lose any of the rage you have generated already, and then you can use a bandage to heal yourself. Now you have a ton of health, a ton of rage, and you're ready to continue leveling. If you're ever about to die, then swapping to a one-hand weapon and a shield, and maybe even going into defensive stance, might save your character's life. Therefore, I highly recommend you to make a macro where you in the first line type /equip the name of your one-hand weapon, and in the second line /equip and the name of your shield. Then you drag this down to your action bar, and the next time you press on it, you will swap to your one-hand weapon and shield. As I'm going to level up my warrior, then I find it useful to do dungeons as I'm leveling. This allows me to gain experience, but also gear at the same time, so when I reach level 25, then I might also have decent enough gear to soon head into raids. The first dungeon I will attend is going to be Dead Mines, at least if I play as an alliance player. And here the Black Defiance armor are insane, even though it's leather. Cruel Barb if I ever plan to play as a fairy warrior, or if I just need a tanking weapon. and of course the cape that will work for no matter what specialization you plan to choose. Like I mentioned, then I will also play with a two-hand weapon, no matter if I level up as Fury or Arms. Therefore, you should also get this hammer in Dead Mines. And not only for leveling, at max level it's still a decent weapon. Next up, I would head into Wailing Cairns and try to obtain leggings of the Fang. The boots and the cloak isn't that important, but the legs I find quite useful at this level and even at 25. The last dungeon I would try to do would be Shadowfang Keep. Here you can obtain an amazing ring with a ton of strength and even some stamina. And as a tank, you can also obtain this amazing mail chest with more armor compared to the one in Dead Mines. And talking about tanking, then it's pretty much mandatory to also get this shield. In Shadowfang Keep, you can also obtain many different weapons, so if you don't have a decent two-hand weapon, then the staff could even be useful, else get the axe, and if you plan to either tank or play as a fairy warrior, then you could also use the dagger from the final boss in the dungeon. You can also level up different professions and craft different rare items, for example as a leatherworker, these amazing gloves. But remember, they bind and equip, so you don't even need the profession yourself, you could just find a leatherworker. Or with blacksmithing, craft this amazing mail chest at level 24 with a ton of strength and stamina. And in Season of Discovery, they've even implemented new epic patterns, so you can also craft an epic mail chest. Like I mentioned in the beginning, then it will be important to do all the different dungeon quests. These will reward you with a ton of experience, but also amazing green and blue rewards. But the thing is that some of these will also require you to travel around or do different pre-quests before you can acquire them. Therefore, I use an add-on to make sure I do all the necessary things. The name of this add-on is Rested Experience, and there's a free trial version you can download right now by using the link below the video. It also comes with a leveling guide, just in case you don't know how to level. And of course, a full version you can also purchase with a lot of other features. For example, in the future, how to acquire your most important runes at level 25. If you wish to get the full version, you can even get a discount by using the link and of course also applying my discount code GuideMMO. But the main reason why I mentioned the add-on was simply just so you knew where to pick up the different dungeon quests, what pre-quests you might also need to do, so you can plan all of this in your level 1 to 25 route. If you're mainly interested in classic Season of Discovery, then on my channel you can find a ton of different videos, and soon also a lot more, for example tips and tricks, gold making, and even leveling guides. So if you're interested in that kind of content, then I would highly recommend you to also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I post a video.